Good morning, everyone from the USA, and good evening to all my Indian friends and colleagues. I first of all welcome you all and thank you for joining this webinar. I'm sure it's pretty early in the morning, and we are all set. And this is the first webinar which we are doing for the America market, and the topic for today is India's food and beverage landscape where tradition meets innovation for global success. Today, for the webinar, we have two eminent speakers, Mr. Amit Lohani. Amit Lohani is the founder and director of the Forum of Indian Food Importers. He champions the interest of the food and beverage importing community, representing a vast network of over 150 esteemed brands from 120 countries. Along with that, we have Ms. Shubhi Mishra. She is agriculture and food business expert with coming along with 18 years plus experience in food, agriculture and beverage sector. Shubhi Mishra is recognized industry leader. Today, we are going to have a fireside chat between Shubhi and Mr. Lohani, where we are going to talk about the Indian market, how how we can how food exporters can enter this market, the policies and all the questions which a lot of exporters I'm sure would be having to enter this vast market. Over to you, Shubhi, and welcome you and Mr. Lohani, and over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vaishali, for the context setting. Welcome, Amitji. So, Amitji, Vaishali has given brief introduction about yourself. However, for the advantage of our audience, it will be really helpful for those of us who don't know what FIFI is and what all you do as an association to advance the interest of international businesses in India.
Thank you, Vaishali. Thank you, Shubhi. Forum of Indian Food Importers is an apex chamber representing food importers in the country. We have more than 6,000 plus members in the varied field of F&B, and our members are importing about $7.5 billion worth of food products in the country. The forum started 15 years ago with the single concept of trying to advocate with the government to reduce both tariff and non-tariff barriers. And over the years, it has also been the pioneer in terms of propagating how to promote food trade in India, how to relegate, how to reach the target market, and the legitimacy of an original food importer who wants to be seen as the right perceptive person in the market, where he can give you the insight in the market, which is India, which is a vast market with varied biographies or varied geographies, I should say, rather. And that is where Forum comes into play. We work with a lot with various food associations. We work a lot with the chefs associations, culinary associations. We work with purchase managers. And foremost, we work with a lot of diplomatic missions to promote food trade in India. Anuga, or Cologne Messe, is one of our partners, and FIFI promotes their Anuga show in India. And FIFI, as an association, has a pavilion which is growing year after year. And a lot of our members exhibit over there promoting their food products from various countries. So that is the predominant scope of what FIFI does.
Wow, I'm sure Team Anuga is proud to have an association with your kind self and FIFI, which indeed, I won't be wrong in saying, is the largest F&B professional association committed to advance the interest of international businesses in India. And I'll encourage all our viewers to know that it will be a chance for you to meet with robust FIFI network at the show and take advantage from their buying power precisely. Amitji, as the founder director of FIFI, you recently hosted the largest ever agriculture trade mission from the USA to India, which I'm sure gives you a very unique perspective. Can you talk a little bit about it for our audience to know that what that trade mission was all about? Because we were seeing it all over social media, print media, everyone was talking about it. So just if you can educate us a bit about that entire event.
Sure, why not? In fact, the US has done two agri-trade missions in their entirety that I know of. USD has done only two of them. One was in 2017-18, which was again handled by Fifi, and this one in 2024 was completely curated by Fifi. The whole idea of an agri-trade mission is to give exposure to US companies to make them understand about the Indian market, uh, how Indian government works, what is the role of an importer association, how they can collaborate with various retailers on ground, or culinary institutes like IHM Pusa, where we did a few events showcasing the culinary arts of India, but highlighting US ingredients. That was the forte of this forum. And also, one of the topics which was touched upon was women in agriculture and how that is growing in the Indian scenario. So sometimes it can be taken a bit of a stretch, but I really believe that if we are able to promote the reality of Indian businesses, showcase them in the right spirit, there is great opportunity, and we've seen that success over the years. The only thing in India is you have to have a sustained model. We had more than 50 companies who were exhibiting or who were actually being part of the agri-trade mission, which was led by the undersecretary. And on site, we did a sales of about, I think, $21 million, if I'm not wrong. And the 6 months projection were about 40 to $50 million. This is to promote the agri business in India. This could be in the tree nut sector, fresh fruit sector, pulses, seafood and meats, and then obviously the processed food industry, which comes in the forefront when you look at the retail sector. We also did some retail promotions during that time, which was very encouraging for US companies to come and see how retail has evolved in India, because sometimes they don't have the real perception what is happening in India, and their perception is based on some YouTube videos, which is far from reality. Maybe this seminar goes on YouTube, and they're able to see some of the potential opportunities for international brands in India and how they have grown. Today, how consumers are consuming from a maple syrup, which is coming from US, which is in various brands, and then along with that, from mustard sauces to hot sauces to quinoa to a lot of products which are originating from the US and now being sold to different diaspora in India, which is consuming those products on a day-to-day basis. Our consumers are adapting to US flavors. Recently, in fact, I was there, and one of the restaurants in India has started doing smash burgers. Now, India was never known for its burgers, but there are cafes and restaurants. When they do a smash burger, they're definitely going to use mustard sauce, which is coming in from the US. They're going to use barbecue sauce, which is coming in from the US. And these are ideas which definitely will make sure that more and more products can come into the market. Similarly, there were several occasions where we did visit the Haldiram facility, which is one of the largest namkeen facility in India, where how US ingredients, especially walnuts, pecans, pistachios, and almonds, can be used more and more in Indian sweets and desserts, and also on the Indian culinary side. That would increase the consumption on the Indian side, and that would create a much larger portfolio of US products which are available in India.
Uh, Thank you so much, Amit ji. And I must say that build up is helping, because when we announced this knowledge session and we announced that will have a fireside chat with you, there was a lot of interest from a number of cooperators and businesses who were a part of the trade mission. So that means that that continued interest has been generated. They're willing to learn more, and they're wanting to explore more about India. You just touched upon that you guys did retail promotions. We're reading these headlines that retail in India is evolving in such a dynamic manner, from unorganized retail to organized retail to e-commerce, now quick commerce. We are seeing these deliveries happening in house in 8 minutes. What are your 2 cents on that? What do you think about this entirely mind-boggling evolution?
So obviously, retail has grown in India, but still it controls only about 8 to 12% of the organized retail sector. So if you look at the Indian market, we still look at about 80 to 85% of the market being unorganized. But these small mom and pop stores have created their own niche, being in a specific location, catering to the specific needs of the consumers in that location. Finding rich people in India is not easy, and it's not that difficult as well, because the entire country is filled with people who have that aspiration and the money power to buy products coming in from the US. And there is where this retail comes into foray. One of the promotions that we did was with a store called Food Stories. And we had brought in this culinary chef who was curating some mind boggling recipes made out of US ingredients. Besides that, the store itself was done in a very niche, it's done in a very niche manner. You can compare it to a store in New York called Italy, where you have specific sections, and instead of just having shelves, they were having these jewelry cases which were showcasing the highlight ingredients, from truffle oil to fresh truffles to certain coffee coming in from Vietnam or Indonesia, like Kopi Luwak. So there were specialized olive oil and other ingredients which were highlighted with these special cases. Cheese was highlighted in a fashion which was again unique over there. Though dairy imports from US are only limited to protein and whey protein and other lactose products, we still can't import cheese from the US, which is going to be big in demand because India is consuming more and more cheese today, and majority of our cheese is coming in from Europe. So I think there is great opportunity. Let's hope that Mr. Modi, when he's there with President Trump, we're able to open up the dairy market in India. You never know what concessions come our way. And for the Indian industry, we are welcoming any moves which will help us to grow the market in India for US products, whether it is poultry, whether it is wines, whether it is any kind of alcobev or processed food. Tree nuts, anyway, are very price driven and commodity centric. So there it is all about the price and the right marketing strategy. I know that US is spending a lot of money promoting these products, and their boards are spending a lot of money doing that. And that is reaping a lot of results and giving it an edge to the US products.
Thank you so much. And when you talk about Indian consumers evolving, I saw that Fifi has recently signed MOU with the Chef Association. I was just reading that in one of the media. It was one of the media houses that published it. Horeca sector clearly, like you said, smash burger in India and mustard sauce getting into our culinary baskets. Is Horeca sector something which is defining more and more? Last year at Anuga, Amit, I'm sure you would have witnessed it as well. We have seen so many chefs walking the aisle spaces. They were meeting with the businesses. So is that something which is of interest for international businesses, or they are more focused only on the domestic products? Do you see more and more purchasing power coming from the hospitality corridors for businesses like yourself and your peers?
I think, see, Horeca sector is always growing because of the fact that the audience is getting revolutionized. If you look at the audience, there are two kinds of audiences which stay at a hotel. When almost 60 to 70% of the audience is a domestic audience, 20 to 30% audience is international or people who've traveled across the world. When they come to a breakfast in the morning, they want a Tabasco sauce over there. They want some mustard sauce over there. They want their pancakes and waffles, which will be topped with some kinds of nuts which are coming in from the US. So the option of Horeca and the plethora of opportunities which Horeca offers to the US ingredients is absolutely tremendous. Now, the only thing is, how do you capitalize on it? Because at the end of the day, it's a limited scope market. But what we are seeing is that every year, this year in 2025, we are expecting about 300 to 500 star properties ranging from 4 stars to 5 stars opening up their doors in India. When the Marriott's Group or the IHG Group or the Taj Group or Oberoi's, when they open up their hotels, almost 15 to 20% of their buying is international goods, international groceries, which makes an important part. So when you go inside a restaurant, how do you charge a premium to a customer? And customers want that premium service and premium ingredient. So the water, if someone is giving French water, they're quite happy because they've seen that particular brand on the shelf in their region. So when they come back, there is a nostalgia, plus there is also a comfort which they have with the brands which they've already seen in their market. So as I said, from a French mustard to a maple syrup, I was enjoying a catering the other day, and this is how Indians work. There was a jugalbandi, one of the desserts which was presented to me by the chef was a pancake stuffed with gajar ka halwa, which is carrot halwa, topped with maple syrup. Now, this was a dessert which was pre-plated, served to me, and I was amazed at the chef's creativity because I, being in the food industry for the past 3 decades, have never tasted a pancake with a carrot halwa. But this was absolutely brilliant. The pancake was not dosed with anything, so only flavor was maple syrup. The carrot halwa was very mildly, the sugar level on the carrot halwa was very low. So that was the right balance of a great sweet dish which was there. So you have an American pancake, an Indian halwa, topped with maple syrup that increases the consumption of maple syrup and the pancake mix which is coming into the Indian country.
Interesting. So this certainly resonates with the title of our fireside chat, where is tradition meets innovation, and international innovation is making way into our kitchens. That is so interesting to know. I will shift gears from North America to South America, because we have a number of businesses from South American countries, and what I see day to day, like you have hosted Fifi's annual reception at the residence of the Brazilian High Commissioner. We are seeing you hosting Chilean agriculture minister, you engaging with the Peruvian ambassador. That just showcases that how much these countries are getting interested in what is happening in the food scenario in India. So what promising opportunities you are seeing emerging from this region is something which is so far off. Everything is more than 24 hours for us. But if we talk beyond traditional subsectors like apples and walnuts, how are you looking at things moving forward?
So to give you a kind of a food for thought, the most trending alcobev today is not gin, it's not whiskey, it is not wine, it is not beer, it's tequila. Somehow tequila has become a synonym with the healthiest drink, alcobev drink. And now people are just drinking tequila as if there's no tomorrow, which was not the case. So when recently, when I met the Mexican ambassador and we were talking about it, I said, "What have you done? How have you marketed it?" And he said, "I didn't. There were some bloggers somewhere who posted a video that tequila, and they've done, some scientific study to showcase that tequila is the healthiest drink of all the other beverages." And that's how tequila has become popular. So there is no event which is possible today to have without tequila as one of the options. So tequila has become popular. Peruvian food today, you can say that in India, every month we are finding new restaurants and cafe opening up. They are now having a small portion of Peruvian cuisine to be part of. All of a sudden, pisco sour and ceviche are becoming popular. So now when you see cuisine passing boundaries and transcending the 10,000 kilometer or 12,000 kilometer distance, then you can very well see that the growth trajectory toward these products is growing. From avocados to blueberries to Peruvian cuisine to Chilean sea bass to tequila. When you see all of that happening, which means that the traction in the Indian audience, which is, you have to also see that most Indians, 65% of our population is below the age of 35. They have disposable income. There are families which have, both husband and wife are working, and then they have that disposable income to spend on cafes and clubs. I was telling someone today, in fact, the Brazilians were there in our office, and I was telling them that hotels are now no longer for young people. It's only the oldies who go to hotels. Young people want to go to a cafe or a restaurant or a pub to enjoy their time, and they don't want to go to that uptight five-star hotel. And that's changing. So with changing times, consumers' perceptions are changing, and then all these cuisines are coming in. Turkish food is getting popular, though it's not from South America. But I see trends which are resonating across the world, resonating in India as well.
From your vantage point, what do you think or see as the biggest strength and weakness for South American countries in terms of their market penetrations or competitiveness of survival in Indian context?
I think, honestly, South Americans were always looking up north to US for them to buy most of their product without realizing that almost one third of the population, which is the consuming class, is in the region which is India, China, Southeast Asia, Middle East. And the highest spenders, if you look at it also, yes, the maturity of audience is not that much. The consumer is not that mature. But if you look at the Middle East today, it's become a hub or a melting pot for all kinds of cuisine, from Ethiopian to Kiwi to South American to American to Canadian. Any major cuisine or any major ingredient which is imported comes into the Middle East, and that gets into Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi. And similarly, that's happening with India and China as well. China took the leap about 10 years ago from us, and now we are taking that leap because China is obviously getting a bit older in terms of the population, age of their population. India is still getting younger. So till the time India is getting younger, the consumptions will definitely go higher. International food in India is growing today at about 17, 18% year on year, which is the highest double-digit growth that you can find in any other market. The only problem in India, which I see, or the challenge from South America that I see, is the distance and the language barrier. When we work with US, language is not a barrier because most Indians can speak good English. But when it comes to South America, we don't know Portuguese, we don't know French, we don't know Spanish. And most of these countries are speaking those languages. So sometimes things do get lost in translation. But what we see is a lot of these people who are into businesses have export managers who are fluent in English. And that relationship management with the South Americans is sometimes better than what is there with North Americans, because they understand the value of relationship and they build their relationship, and they visit India at least 2 to 3 times in a year, which is great because they're able to build that relationship over a long period of time.
Yeah, that is so right. That South American countries are so relationship driven. But I'll say that even the American businesses, the North American businesses, I think that are agreeing to the fact that India is a very relationship based market. When I meet with the business associates from US, Canada, or Chile, or Peru, they all are getting more and more acquainted to the fact that India is very relationship based. I'll just ask you something. Means it's more about the behavior of Indian consumers and in businesses as well. You being a business house yourself and with your great exposure, how do you envision India's consumers evolution, and how is that impacting the consumption habits and buying patterns for the food industry, for the premium products, for health and wellness, convenience products, and others?
So, there was a time when when I used to travel to US 20 years ago, I used to wonder when these products would be available in India. But today the scenario is, if it's launched in US, within 24 to 72 hours, the product can be made available in India. A clear example was Prime. Prime was launched in the US, and within maybe uh, a week's time, we were able to find Prime in India. It had the same kind of rage, the favorite, the YouTubers' rage in terms of finding the product, seeking the product. The product was being sold to consumers at about $20 to $25 a bottle, which is absolutely absurd. But yes, people were going and buying and seeking that. We were getting calls from retailers that there is a huge something has happened where these kids are coming over to them and saying that we want a Prime drink and can you get it? People were getting their family members who are flying in from Dubai or UK or US to carry Prime in their suitcases. Now, we've never seen such a rage for any product in the last few years. And all of a sudden, we've seen that. Similar example is of Dubai chocolate. All of a sudden, this one chocolate from Dubai has become a synonym where now companies like Lindt and some Belgian companies and Turkish companies are making the Dubai chocolate in Switzerland and in Paris and in other parts of the world. Now, that is how trends are moving. So trends are now, there are no boundaries for trends. So when we see trends across the world, similar trends are seen in India. If there is a vegan trend going on in the US, you'll see a similar trend in India. If Pokeball is doing well in US, you'll see a similar trend in India. If you see Japanese and Korean food trending over there, you'll see a similar trend in India. So what we are seeing is that as consumers, the evolution of consumer is very fast. The consumers are getting impatient, which is it's a pity, and I don't like it, because as a consumer, I think patience of enjoying a meal is very important. But the reality is, with this whole new business of fast commerce, which has happened in India, where I can order any product and it would be delivered to me within 5 to 7 minutes, that again nurtures my consumerism, but also makes me more impatient, because tomorrow I don't want to wait for 24 hours to order anything. I want everything in that quick fix solution. Those are disturbing trends, and I don't know how sustainable they are going to be. In fact, now what we are hearing is that some restaurant chains like Domino's and McDonald's are trying to get into this bandwagon of delivering food in 15 minutes. Now, that's going to be crazy if you're getting food delivered in 15 minutes, because that would again kind of inculcate this thing where you will not have that patience to wait for anything. If you go to a restaurant and wait and sit over there, the Europeans want to sit and chill for 2 hours having their meal. Indians want them to have finished their meal in 10 minutes because they'll get the food in 8 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So those are trends which are disturbing. But overall, the market, the consumerism, the aspiration plays a very important role in India. And that's why you see the growth trajectory in India.
Yes, we indeed are living in the time of 30-second Instagram reels, and quick gratifications are something we all are looking for.
10 seconds, 10 seconds, you're wrong. Nowadays, nobody wants, they don't have The
30-second
span
challenge.
is 3 seconds. If they like it for 3 seconds, they continue. Otherwise, after 10 seconds, it's the next one. So, it's crazy, more than crazy than you can imagine.
Yeah, you're so active on social media, so I'm sure you know it better than any one of us with your food postings. All of us are seeing those and enjoying those. I also had the opportunity to witness the largest Chilean agriculture delegation to India, and it was a great showcase at Anuga Select in India, August last year, where Chile came forward as a country partner and successfully demonstrated a diverse range of products. In fact, I learned so much about Chile during that trade mission, from fresh fruits range to salmons to tree nut to large potential member base, to large potential buyer base, including a number of FIFI members. Do you think that a model of this time yield positive business outcomes, or do you think that is also something which is short-lived, people forget about it? And what suggestions or best practices would you like to share with us based on that experience of yours?
I think, see, when you look at in the last 2 years, we've handled one of the largest US mission, we've handled one of the largest European Union mission, and we've handled one of the largest Chilean mission. And what we've realized is that this people-to-people contact plays a very important role in the long-term business dealings between the two countries and businesses in terms of individuals. This whole relationship model where language is not a barrier, where people come into the country wanting to sell their product, they see a different India from their own eyes rather than viewing it from someone else's. They see the opportunity in India in terms of their products being sold, whether it is the wholesale market or a fine dine store or a retail market or fresh fruit market. They see all of that. That opens up their viewpoint about India. Also, right now, I believe that everyone is trying to focus more on Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, the metropolitan cities. They are not still encompassing the dearth of growth that can be garnered from tier 2, tier 3 cities, which have huge potential of buying, but they don't have the availability. So social media plays a very important role in that. E-commerce can be a great partner for something like that. So I think there are multiple opportunities, and these kind of activities should they should continue on a roller coaster basis. Because if you do one activity and you vanish for 3 years, then you are lost, because then nobody cares about what you did last year. They would always ask you, what are you doing this year? So
Yeah.
that is important. You need to be very consistent with India, because otherwise your market share will be lost, because someone else will come in and capture that market share because you were not able to retain that consumer.
And as I saw during this trade mission, the agriculture minister himself was walking the show. He met with so many Indian businesses. He was so curious to see all the innovations which are happening. He was chatting with the importers and Indian producers and processors alike. So that indeed was a great sight to see the globalization at one platform. Amitji, as an agri sector business advisor, I always suggest to organizations to know if their products have market access in India, as there is no fun for them to engage in market promotional activities or come to any trade event or whatsoever. So this is when the team Anuga and I were chatting across, and we thought that it is of value to educate the potential exhibitors at a trade show like Anuga about the regulatory compliances in India, for them to know that whether their product can come into Indian market or not, what fine tuning should they be doing if they're talking about India as a market. So let me address the elephant in the room. A lot of people have an impression of India being a hard nut to crack with regulatory compliances and other legal requirements. You must be witnessing these examples on day-to-day basis. What is your take on this? Do you really think India is an impossible market to achieve, or are there strategies and ways and means which can help businesses to maneuver through the Indian market?
So if you look at the Indian market, almost 99% of the products are allowed in the Indian market. There is no restriction on 99% of the product. The only one product where there is restriction is beef. So any product, any derivative of beef or beef gelatin in any form, in any processed food, is not permitted in the country. The only other restriction that I see in terms of other products is sometimes the phytosanitary requirements or the phytosanitary protocols between the two countries have not been signed. So when you look at fresh fruits, there is that phytosanitary requirement which is there. Otherwise, for processed foods, for most tree nuts, there is no regulation, there is nothing. All you need to do is have an India-specific label which only warrants you to put a certain specific set of information, which is name of the importer, the product name, nutrition fact, maximum retail price. If it's a retail-based product, if it's a wholesale product or a bulk product, then you don't need to put that. A green dot or a red triangle or a brown triangle. This is because Indians, there are about 35% of our population is vegetarian. So the green dot signifies that the product is vegetarian and is to be allowed to be consumed by vegetarians in India, which is about 35%. The balance 65% can consume meat in some form or the other, or can consume other kind of non-veg products, but they still want to know whether the ingredients in that are sourced from the source of meat that they want to consume. Halal is not a big trending thing in India. Kosher is not a big trending thing in India. So I don't see there are challenges of those nature. In fact, Middle East, you have to translate it to an Arabic language label to be put on the product, which India doesn't warrant. So you can put an English label and that should be suffice. And that should allow your products to come into the Indian market. There are no challenges as long as you find the right partner. That is the only challenge that I see when it comes to the Indian market. Once you find the right partner, he will educate you, tell you what are the confirmations that need to be done on this, in terms of labeling. FIFI has an onboard retainer, food safety, ex-food safety director, who helps us with all our labeling requirements for our members. So if you are dealing with one of the FIFI members, he has access to that whole database of information and information on the product, what is permitted, what is not permitted, what are the additives. If there are certain additives, you need to put some additive caution that this is not allowed for weaning mothers or things like that. But otherwise, there shouldn't be any problem in exporting anything to India.
So that's a very, very helpful thing to note because, and especially listening from your mouth, that real-term business challenges can be sailed through. You just need to be aware of that, what needs to be done. Amitji, I just have five very quick three-word questions for you. If I ask you that, what are the three fresh category products which have huge potential for India? And please don't say apples.
I would say berries. The growth of the berry industry in India, consumers today from cherries to berries, whether it is blueberries, blackberries, gooseberries, all the berries are trending in India because a lot of desserts made in India, because if you look at Indian hospitality institutes, they are still teaching you French cuisine. So that means that French patisserie is a big part of Indian culture and they use a lot of berries. So berries is definitely one, which is something which works very well in the Indian market. Stone fruits, I think there is great potential for stone fruits and citrus. These are the three categories where I see there is potential in the Indian market. We still are consuming these products because we have domestic production of these products. But the reality is, if you are bringing in from the southern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere, certain times you see product portfolios and people want a premium product. So cherries coming in from Chile or from US are far superior what is available in India. I should say that. Though I would be hammered for it, but the reality is I love those, and I think consumers in India also do that.
So whenever you are hammered, we'll say it was an individual choice. Top three processed food categories.
Currently, if you look at it, it's Korean noodles, which is amazing. All of a sudden, this demand for Korean noodles because of K-pop culture being popular is skyrocketed. So Korean noodles is definitely one where you see huge demand in processed food. The second category, I think it's sauces. Any cuisine-based sauces are doing very well. Mostly what we see is Asian sauces do very well from, again, Korean, Thai, Japanese, Chinese. And then obviously there are some Italian sauces as well which do very well. So the second category in the processed is in the processed food. And the third is chocolates, which is confectionery. So chocolates, again, as a category is growing. Our consumption is very measly at this point of time. But the consumption of chocolates, whether it is bean to bar, whether it is single origin, whether it is organic, the organic is officially not allowed in India, but we still see a lot of organic chocolates coming into the country. I think there is great potential for those products in the market.
Top three products from the ingredient category.
Oh, premixes. Huge demand for premixes. We are seeing a lot of premixes for the bakery sector coming into the country because, as I said, that patisserie is a big part of Indian culture. So they want premium premixes. The second one is pizza flour. All of a sudden, everyone is eating Neapolitan pizza and they want the Farina 00 flour coming in from Italy. So pizza flour is definitely there coming in. And then comes in is spice mixes. A lot of spice mixes. You might believe that India is actually the largest producers of spice and the largest exporter of spice. But still, we are importing a lot of spice mixes from Chipotle to a lot of other saffron. Then we import a lot of these premixes spices, which are used for the ingredient industry, which is then re-exported to back to US and Europe. So spices are a big market when it comes to the Indian scenario.
This I'll ask you just as a yes or no. Our studies are showing that top non-food sector is still agriculture origin goods, which have great potential, are nutraceutical products, pet food, and ethanol. Do you agree or you disagree?
No, absolutely. I think non-food is growing a lot, and there is huge potential in that segment itself. But the only thing is, non-food is very price driven. Though, when you look at processed food, also it is price driven. But there are certain products which are very unique to a certain country or a certain nation, which cannot be produced in India. We still find it difficult to have the same quality of product coming in. So I think that resonates from what is coming in, like Asahi coming in from Brazil. Now, I can't replicate that in India. The demand is not as such that we are going to start producing Asahi in India. The this 2024 reception, we had an Asahi Kulfi, which was on a stick, and people loved it. We had Asahi Golgappas. So people in India love that flavor. And then the story of the product comes in, and then they go on social media and learn that Asahi is such a healthy alternative. And acai can become a big part of Indian breakfast, maybe in the near future, in the next 3 years.
Uh, Top suggestions on Indian business ethics. For example, Indians do a lot of business on WhatsApp. Many business houses find it unique to India that a message on WhatsApp is that formal or not formal. So, what are three India business ethic trends which people should make a note of?
So I'm telling you that reality is I get my invoices on WhatsApp, I get my packing list on WhatsApp, I get my bill of lading on WhatsApp, I get my health certificate on WhatsApp, and then I forward the same WhatsApp to my clearing agent, and he then submits it to the government. So WhatsApp is a great medium which is there. In fact, sometimes I block my appointments I've just written to the Joint Secretary of Animal Husbandry for an appointment for Friday on WhatsApp. We invite sometimes ambassadors on WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is a great medium that Indians use, and there is no formality or informality with WhatsApp. We use it as a way or means to connect. In fact, sometimes when we are not able to get through a regular call, it's WhatsApp call that we go through, or FaceTime call for that matter, if the other person is holding an iPhone. The second thing in India, what I see is that, if you're able to build a relationship, that is the key to your success, and try to take that relationship to level next. We normally, after our first or second or third year of our relationship with a particular company, we definitely invite them at our homes. We would go and visit their homes and, have a meal over there. So building that bond or relationship is quite critical for the aspect of your 10-year strategy in India. Though I'm saying strategy and relationship in the same line, but that is a reality of the Indian market where you need to build those in terms of the market sentiment. Um, I would never suggest sending goods to anybody without taking an advance. So I would always recommend that you please do your due diligence. Do not go by the first person that you meet, or because sometimes we are bragging about ourselves. Indian businesses have that particular habit. I see that habit in a lot of other countries also. When I go to Spain, everyone comes and tells me I'm the second largest producer of olive oil, or I'm the third largest producer of olive oil. And, I got 10, 20 companies telling me the same thing. So, make sure that do your due diligence about any company that you work with. Visit their offices, visit their premises, talk to the embassy, talk to the trade bodies which are there in the market, and you'll have a better understanding of the importer before you start your business with them.
Well, thank you so much, Amitji. And simultaneously, we got a question from one of the audience member asking about your thoughts on the dairy sector, because you have briefly touched on it, saying that a certain category of dairy products is permitted from, say, USA. What is the overall view on dairy sector in India? And if you can give this perspective, keeping both North and South America in mind.
So currently, I don't see any processed dairy coming in from South or North America at this juncture. But I see a lot of dairy coming in from New Zealand, Australia, majority of it also coming in from Europe. Our biggest trading partners in dairy are the European nations, Italy, Denmark, Greece, Poland. We buy a lot of mozzarella, we buy a lot of feta cheese. So if you come to India and you are at any five-star hotel, you'll find Italian or European cheeses in their breakfast menu, in their lunch menu, in their dinner menu. It's impossible for them not to have a cheese platter with all the French brie and the Gouda and the Parmesan. So that is an important part. In fact, now the most trending thing in the tier 2 and tier 3 city is cooking pasta in Parmesan wheel. So they bring the whole wheel to the table and they're cooking Parmesan or pasta, a spaghetti rolled into cheese on your table in the wheel itself. So I think there is a huge potential for dairy sector in India. India is one of the largest dairy producers, if you guys are not aware about it. But the only problem is we consume 90% of our dairy as it is. We consume it as milk. We don't process it further. Only about 5 to 10 to 15% of dairy is processed, depends from region to region. So our dairy consumption is very high. We think of dairy as a great source of vegetarian protein or calcium. And so that way, the consumption of dairy in our daily food is very high. So I think there is great potential for dairy products from that region.
Thank you so much, Amitji. I'm working in the sector for past 18 years, but every time it is like so much knowledge to absorb and to comprehend on. Thank you so much for sharing that with our audience. With that, I'll quickly move to how Anuga Select as a show in India is how I envision that show as. And I think that it is very, very important. An important note I'm taking from your talk is that it is very, very important to firstly determine if your product has market access in India. And then it clearly depicts that avenues are unlimited. Anuga is very strategically positioned in Mumbai, which is the financial capital of India, and also has a number of retail outlets headquartered and food processors headquartered in Mumbai. So it is your chance to visit the show. Give yourself a day or two extra so that you have a chance to go back, look at the retail sector in India, go look at the wholesale market, the Horeca sector's evolution. It will give you a lot of perspective. And then come to the show. Pillars like Fifi are partners with Anuga to support and be present in full force. And they obviously are going to be exploit them to the full. They're going to be your potential buyers. In case you want, then Team Anuga Select India is very much available to help you conduct feasibility studies based on qualitative and quantitative market research. They can even conduct product specific regulatory compliance study for you to help you ensure a smooth and compliant market entry. You can develop a risk mitigation and contingency plan, or engage in a post entry support and monitoring, among other services as well. If you want to learn more about the show, I have circled the contact information of Vaishali from the team. You can please be in touch with her. She is on top of all what Colin Messe team is doing in India and can be a go-to person. With that, I will open the forum for any questions from the audience. And also, yes, this image is from the show itself. And yes, you can see a number of white coats in the backdrop, which clearly says this picture is a vibe in itself, is what I always say. You can see that there are so many chefs, such huge purchasing power for all of you to benefit from. With that, over to you, Vaishali. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lohani. Thank you, Ms. Shubhi. It was really an amazing and wonderful insights, and thank you for your expertise. And I'm sure it would be, beneficial, and it would have been benefited to all our attendees today. And there are some questions which have come around in this session. I'll like to raise those questions. This is for Shubhi. Like the question is like, as we look to export to India, what are the most critical regulatory compliance issues which should be aware of? And how should we ensure that products safety and labeling standards are met? So I think we have discussed this, but if you have anything in detail to be
Yes,
answered.
like Amitji talked about during the session, that it is very important for the businesses, and which I also flagged, to know that if your product has market access in India. So, what I suggest at first step is that you have Vaishali's contact information. Just drop her an email, or you can reach out to your local partner of Colin Messe in your region with this specific HS code of your product. We can firstly help you identify if your product has market access in India. Like Amitji said, that there are certain times when you need to be aware of the, say, health certificate requirement or phytosanitary requirement for your specific products, and if your country has that agreement with India or not. So we can kind of help you put that filter first. Then there are number of regulatory bodies, and I know it can sound a bit overwhelming for someone sitting so far off from India, but we are here to help you maneuver through the process. We can help you understand what the labeling requirements look like, and we generally, your importing partners are aware of that. But even beforehand, if you want, you can reach out to us, and we'll be happy to give you a bespoke download on your sector specific query.
Thank you, Shubhi. Uh, the next question is for Mr. Lohani. What are the most effective distribution channels for food and drink companies to reach the Indian consumers? And like what partnerships or collaborations can they explore, considering their products, which are widely available in the Indian market?
So if you look at the Indian market, you can divide the market in about 3 to 4 segments. The first one is obviously organized retail. Now, to get into organized retail, the importer normally has an array of distributors who are there in different regions. They help you get and penetrate into organized retail. The second segment is unorganized retail. Again, the importers, distributors, and direct supplies to all these chains can be done to get access to the widespread distribution network which is there. The third is e-commerce. Now, e-commerce can be kind of mitigated in the sense that you can have either your direct supplies to all these e-commerce players, whether it is Zomato, Blinkit, Zepto, or Big Basket, Amazon, where you can have your own marketplace, or you can supply to DC. There is a DC model which is available. So e-commerce can be tapped into through that. The Horeca segment in itself can be tapped in through the distributors or direct supplier with hotel chains. What you need to do is you need to find the chef or the purchase manager willing to purchase your product at the price point at which you are supplying the product. Now, in India, most retailers and most Horeca players are not importing. There is always a conduit, which is an importer. So I think for you, the best partner would be an importer. It's not, I'm saying this because I'm an importer, but I'm telling you as a fact that that is the reality of the Indian market, that you will need to find an importer. Every importer has anywhere between 10 to 1,000 distributors who are spread across the country who speak different languages, because India is such a diverse country that there is no one single language which can connect all of us. So we have to speak the local language, and I can't do that. So I have to have a distributor in that region. I can have my sales force of local origin in that region. So that helps me to get that penetration. And then e-commerce can have varied penetration, because e-commerce is supplying to more than 700 cities. So once you are on a platform like Amazon, you are able to get into that market. For hotel chains also, when you look at these large chains like Taj, Leela, the Marriott's group, the IHG group, they have centralized purchases, but Holiday Inn would have a separate set of centralized purchases versus an Intercontinental versus a Crown Plaza. So that is where the market penetration can happen, and it's very easy. It's not that difficult. Most importers are quite equipped, and they have that bandwidth to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Amit. So one last question, that is probably for like Cologne Messe. Basically, we are an exporter of fresh produce and are willing to explore Indian market. How can our association with the trade show like Anuga impact our long-term strategy for Indian market? So here, I would like to answer that when you talk about a trade show, it's all about building relationship, meeting the meeting everyone under one platform where trade fairs facilitate and give you relationship making, and how you can continue that relationship for long time, like how Mr. Lohani already mentioned that Indian market is something you need to continue and keep coming to the market. You cannot be lost just by being present once and then you're not there. It doesn't work like that. So I would request, if someone who is really interested and would want to explore Indian market, visit, or do the business, I would say Anuga Select would be a perfect platform where you get to meet and interact with a lot of B2B businesses, with Horeca team or chefs or distributors or retailers. But I would suggest that you should be regular and consistent by coming to India every year. It cannot be like once you come and, oh, like we don't know how was the response, we are not sure, I don't think so our product works, or we are not, it doesn't, it has to be consistent. And I would request that if there is any query or something, you have any product which you are really keen, and Shubhi and Mr. Lohani, along with Cologne Messe team, we are always there to help you and assist you for that matter. Also, Shubhi recommended that you should explore the local market. So in 2024, we did one activity one day before the show. That was a retail walk where the exhibitors who are from different countries, we have different pavilions, country organizers like Brazil, Korea, South Korea, we had Russia. So all these exhibitors, they were given a platform where we organized this retail walk, where we took them to one of the most biggest retail chain in India, which is the Food Square and the Nature's Basket, where they were given a tour of how the retail supermarket looks like, because this two supermarkets only comprises of all the international brands from different countries. So the whole idea was to give every exhibitor the knowledge, the kind of products which are on the shelves, what is what has been bought in India, who are the sellers, and are these products being purchased by the Indian market. So this was the entire activity which we did, and it was the first time we did something like this, and it was really very helpful, and every exhibitor liked it, because what happens is they come to the show for 3 days, 5 days, and then they go back. They are never, they never get a chance to visit to such markets and local areas. So I would, this year too, we will be having this activity where we are also planning to inculcate and add local markets of Mumbai, which will be much useful to all of you. And if in case there is any more doubts or queries, my email is mentioned. I please be free and write all the queries you have, and I'll be happy to assist you. So I guess thank you so much once again, Shubhi and Mr. Lohani. It was a wonderful session. And thank you once again to all our attendees who were a part of this session. I hope you are going to take major information from this webinar, and looking forward to see you soon. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vaishali. Thank you, everyone.